I am Feel It.
And I am Fix It. And we talk about life.
And stuff and things.
With the occasional rant.
Which you will have no problem doing.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good night. Whatever it is, wherever you are, we hope you're having a good one.
Absolutely.
I think today's just going to be one of those weird days.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Weird headspace.
Very weird headspace.
That's okay.
Weird life. Well, part of it, it's tax season, so our heads are kind of stuck in, oh, goody, because our world has changed quite a bit.
I will be doing that when we're done with this.
Yep.
I will go sit down and deal with that. And we have an appointment coming up. I didn't adult last weekend to do it, or the weekend before that. Any of the other times I said I'd sit down and do it, but now I really have to.
Yep, deadline is approaching.
Well,
it's not like the official deadline, which it is, but it's like
we have an appointment.
We have an appointment. Yes.
I want to get that done.
Mm-hmm. And the sooner the better. But at the same time, no idea what this one's going to look like. Going to be different, I think.
I'm going to know moving forward what it's going to look like. It's all a guessing game.
Yes, it
Fun
is.
stages.
Yes.
I'm very glad for the people with the no tax on tips. Great. Good for them. I'd like to know what else is going to come down the pipe, but it's great when you can support your even 18-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
At home. And I know there's thresholds. Oh, would they go to college? Well, yeah, if they want to go to college, then you can claim them. Well, our one that's going part-time, you don't get to claim her.
Nope.
It's full-time only. Like, you know what? It's just lots of things.
No, it's the 17-year-old age different. When they hit 17, you can't claim them any. It's like, wait a sec.
Correct. They're no longer dependent.
They're 100% dependent on me. Who came up with that? Living in my house, eating my food, they contribute jack and squat.
Yeah.
And it's like, and if I stopped paying, I could be, if I stopped taking care of them at 17, I could still be prosecuted for child endangerment. So how can I not claim them? That's a crock.
I forget. My brain's a little fuzzy right now.
But
and I'm not an accountant.
It doesn't matter. Our youngest is almost 19. We're way past that point.
But that means that this is the last time we can claim, because she graduated in May. So the last time we can claim, and my head's fuzzy, the other thing, it's not dependent. You don't get the child credit anymore.
Yep.
And maybe it is dependent. Maybe I'm thinking of it backwards. Forgive me. I'm not an accountant.
Yep.
Anyway, It's the last year to actually claim anything worth anything, but it's not as good as the child credit was.
No. And it's still a little bit of a crock.
She was 18 in her home and graduated high school.
Mm-hmm.
But, just all the fun things that we have to look forward to now.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of exciting in some ways, and
yeah.
not in others.
We're getting there.
It's nice that your income increases and you get to pay in. Sure. All right.
Well,
just tell me how much I'm going to have to plan on paying in.
Could you imagine if the no tax on overtime kicked in already?
That'd be great.
Oh, my goodness.
We'll see where that goes, too.
Oh, my goodness.
We'll see where that goes.
I don't have the graph in front of me, but I'm this last year, I think I was like 28% of my pay was overtime. It was a lot.
It was a lot. It was a year. It was
a year of averaging 55 hours a week. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Which,
funny
it definitely didn't hurt to pay the deposits any.
No.
Yeah.
And we're very grateful. While some have gone without, we are very blessed. So yeah, funny headspace.
Mm-hmm.
This was important.
Yeah.
Take the minute to do this.
Yep.
On this beautiful day.
Yeah, the weather's kind of wonky, and it's kind of nice out, but it's still cold and it's wet, and
it's February 1st.
And they're talking
in Michigan,
talking cold rain or cold
freezing
snow
rain.
And freezing rain later this week. So,
yep.
yeah, awesome. Awesome.
Pretty blessed to not have to deal with that a lot, but when we do,
Yep.
so fun.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Tis what it is.
So yes,
But still.
we are. Yeah. Had that, and just been a weird week. I think I don't know why in particular. I don't know. Can't really explain it.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know. I haven't been sleeping great, so that might be part of it. Just
Same.
yeah. No, at least I think it's part of it for me. Just it's like when I'm awake, but man, I try to go to sleep. I'm tired. Brain just will not shut off. Yeah. Anyway, but been there before. I'll get through it. It's fine.
Yes. It's just kind of one of those. I've been taking. I haven't really talked about it, but what am I? 5 medications. 5 medications. For MCAS, that mast cell activation syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Have a follow-up coming up
Yep.
with that specialist to go over all the lab results and all the things. I got a phone call the other day. They missed one of the 24-hour urine tests that needed to have been done. So unfortunately that is not going to be there for my appointment. Trying to figure out an eye drop to prescribe for me because I was having, prior to starting all of these antihistamines and these off-label treatments, starting to have issues with my right eye. I'd been having them for a few years with my left. So this week, particularly bad for my right eye. And I'm not loving that.
No.
At all. Because it's one thing when it's like one eye and you're used to dealing with that. Then when it's both of them, I just trying to focus on the positives that we're working on this. We're going to figure out the right prescription eye drop for me. It's going to be different than what I've been trying, like the commercial ones that you see where people are talking about how great and wonderful they are, and they might be great actors, but those are terrible for my eyes. They've been making my eyes feel like they were on fire just because they're the wrong thing.
Yep.
They're for the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, trying to be positive. We're on a good road. I felt better and some of my symptoms have been noticeably better, and that has been very encouraging.
Which is awesome. Definitely glad to hear that.
Very encouraging. I think we're on the right path.
Very much so, yes.
So I'm still in that process, on that 5th drug. I'm still in that step-up phase. Now we're trying to figure out the eye drop. But I had to stop taking one of those pills for a week. The Singulair, specifically. I had to stop taking it for a week before I can do this other 24-hour urine. So I'm not going to have time to do that and get the doctor get those results before that appointment. But just trying to focus on the positives and things. But one of those pills, and I can't pronounce it. Isn't that bad? No, it starts with an M.
No. Yeah. Can't keep track of a lot of that crap.
Yeah, that might be the Singulair. No, it's not. Sorry. I have the prescription pad things, like he gave me the name brands of what I'm getting, but then I get the generics on the bottles and I just get fuzzy. So anyway.
Yeah, they kind of blend together at that point.
One of them I only take at night because it does make me drowsy.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to help kind of shut down the system, give body time to heal. Some of those, the activation to stop, because I was having so much pain even in the middle of the night. And I dare say after a few months of regularly taking it, I've noticed the difference. It's a phenomenal difference. There are still the random days, might wake up with the pain, but it's nowhere near as significant or as frequent. That's encouraging. But it does make me drowsy. And this last couple of weeks, man, I just haven't wanted to wake up. Like, I just keep hitting snooze. It's kind of weird. Then I talk to my clients that are all going through the same thing. You see all this stuff going around with a seasonal affective disorder, which is very real.
Yeah,
Very, very real.
Oh, yeah.
But I definitely think with like the weather and physical activity, trying to do these new things to keep myself moving, and I don't know, just trying to gauge where some of this is coming from.
Yeah, my sleep thing is just it's like I'm tired, drowsy, kind of dozing off, go to bed, and
you're awake.
Like my head hits the pillow, and suddenly I'm wide awake and raring to go. I'm like, no, it is way too late for that crap. It's like,
you have a lot of natural sleep aids in this house. You should probably try one.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
I know. It's not normally your thing.
No,
but,
and melatonin. I mean, the melatonin thing didn't do squat for me. And
I don't know. This one has like a bunch of other stuff in it.
Yeah.
It was pretty effective for me. It did help.
I will say,
I went on all these other medicines.
My combination of butterscotch moonshine and apple pie whiskey worked really good.
That's where we're going with this.
But
yes, you actually have drank alcohol to help yourself fall asleep.
Yep, just enough to get that little bit of, okay, all right, yep, no, it's nap time. But that's not a good habit to be in, so I don't do
Absolutely that. Not. And it's also very telling of that ADHD brain that you have.
Oh, yeah.
Because it slows you down.
Yes.
Very quickly.
A lot, yeah.
Yes.
Gets very, very mellow.
Yeah.
It is also like the equivalent of like 3 or 4 shots, so it's not like a small amount.
Yes, let's keep bragging about that, shall we?
Well, it's not really bragging. It's just
that.
It's like,
definitively.
Time to go sleep. But yeah, that was. I haven't done that in quite a while. It's just I've been considering it. It's like, ugh. But once I get up and I'm moving, it's like I'm fine for now, and then I'll stop moving, and then it's all over.
Effective in its own way.
Yeah. Just
I want to shoot out now that you're going to hear the dog. Not only is she just normally with us, especially if there's nobody else home, to love on her, but we laid out a rug that I purchased for my office, my work office, not my home office, and to let it just lay out because it came in a square, a vacuum sealed square, and our dog she just loves it. She just loves the feel of it, and she keeps walking around and scratching at it, and you're going to hear it. You're going to hear her collar repeatedly.
Yep.
She's fascinated by the rug.
Well, it does. It feels really good on my feet.
I love it. She's trying to pull it up and treat it like a blanket, which I think is funny. That's how soft it is. So just throwing that out there.
Not a blanket dog.
Just throwing that out there. Because she did when I came in yesterday. I came home from work yesterday, and it was all wadded up like a blanket on the floor. A 4x6 rug. Try to treat like a blanket. Anyway.
Anywho, yeah.
I was contemplating the topic, and I thought, interestingly enough, we had recorded and then gone to church the next day. We've been trying a different church. Think we're set on a new church, and their service was about how to handle conflicts. And I know it was done in a very biblical light, right? And very kind of in that specific when you have a problem with fellow believer, and understanding too that sometimes even if it's not an issue with a believer, that there's still certain ways that you're supposed to handle it. And I thought, you know what, let's do a part 2. And I wanted to talk a little bit differently about it. I know I was in a zone, right? When I was talking last week about you cut out some of that toxicity.
Sure.
Okay. So this is the first I'm saying it to you, and that's how we do to each other. Is we don't always tell each other the topic, and that's fine. This is how we roll. So I got to thinking about it. I thought, all right, you know what? I'm going to pick up and explain a few things a little differently, because there's the professional side of me, then there's the personal side of me. Faith is in both of them, right? I do not speak to my clients a certain way like I did last week when we were recording.
Sure. Yeah.
And even sitting in church and listening to that service, which was it was a good service. And that wasn't last weekend, I apologize. It was the weekend before, wasn't it? My brain's a little foggy.
Yeah, I think we overslept last week.
Yes, we did. I just didn't feel good.
Yeah,
I didn't feel good.
It's like, you didn't feel good, and it was just trying to get up, just didn't work. But, yeah.
So.
But they have really good, they stream.
It must be off a week then. Oh my goodness. So we recorded that before we heard that service. You're looking at me too, like, did we record last week?
Yes.
This is how foggy I'm feeling. You'd think there's something in my hot cocoa. Okay. Anyway.
Yo.
This is a follow-up. And I feel it's important because, you know what? We watched online, and that's why I remember it. We weren't there. We were just watching online. So that's why I remember what he was saying. We did attend online.
Well, yeah.
We both just started looking at each other like, time warp. What just happened? Okay.
Well, and we started off with the idea was like being authentic, being our authentic selves and true to ourselves, and it kind of went places from there. Weird.
We went
off rails. It was
it's kind of it's interesting when you hear about it, or you. I have heard my colleagues talk about how there's like these seasons of the year where you're going to deal with clients that have pretty specific things, right?
Yep.
Grief comes up a lot in the fall. Why? Because it's associated with holidays, and that becomes very difficult, very hard on people.
All of the family get-togethers for Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and Christmas Eve. And
you're going to see summer and fall. You might see some of those parents that are struggling with life transition if they're becoming empty nesters, not dealing well with kids graduating and moving forward with life. First of the year, you're going to hear more from clients that have issues with family because they're coming off the holidays and the drama is overload.
Oh, yeah.
So then should I, stop talking to my cousin, my sister, my aunt, my uncle, my parents because XYZ. You have these conversations, and then the other one I've heard the most about, kind of makes me chuckle a little bit. Also this time of year into the spring are brides, freaking out brides.
Oh, yeah.
So I've heard this. And now I've seen it. Now I've actually seen some of that. So I'm like, yeah, I've spent the last couple years, counseling people. So I'm like, yeah, okay. I can see all this now. I was one of those people with the grief at the holidays. So I definitely get that.
Yep.
The rest of it's just been interesting to see it. So anyway, yes, there's that level of authenticity that we were talking about. And then it went to that area, even though it was kind of my point.
Mm-hmm.
So I started with another client this week that it came up. Only he had both. There was the grief and there was the estranged brother.
Okay.
And it has been this way for a few decades, if I'm understanding correctly, with the brother. A believer who had his own struggles and issues with filling voids inappropriately.
Sure.
Saw it in his brother first, if I understand it correctly, and the details don't matter so much as to say that they were both had the same struggles, dealt with it very similarly, but very different personalities walking into it. And that estrangement had started beforehand. And a lot more detail to it. But the point was, it got me thinking about this follow-up. Okay, what else could be said about this? So between the church service and then this client, it got me thinking. So I want to be a little bit more clear. Yes, of course, there's the biblical way to handle things, especially when everybody involved is a believer. It's harder when you're dealing with somebody that isn't. For somebody like myself, who does try to come from, and us,
yes,
from a biblical standpoint on how you deal with things. I had expressed that it was decades of issues and situations that led me to my choice in how I was treating my family.
Mm-hmm.
Lies, manipulations, drugs, alcohol, you name it, really, when it came to just the self-centered ridiculousness literally my whole life. We were two just completely different people that never really got along. Mm-hmm. It was a consistently forced situation on myself when my mother was alive, with the guilt trips and the but it's your sister. Funny how she never really pushed that with my brother, because she certainly had a whole lot of feelings about him. God bless her. She's had plenty of time to talk to Jesus about that by now. But it was not an easy choice. And most people that I have counseled, it's never an easy choice. They do have a lot of hurts and feelings about making those choices.
Sure.
They just, like myself, you come to a point where you question, God, I have only said as much as I could say. I'm putting this in your hands.
Sure.
Because we are in a world that has laws that we are supposed to abide by.
Sure.
And sometimes it's hard, those ethics and morals always collide with that, right? And there's a whole lot of history there for myself, and I've heard a lot of history from my clients.
Sure.
And it all comes down to what is best for mental, emotional, and spiritual health given the situation. That's not an in the box. That's not a checklist. That's not a simple, like, oh yeah, well, just don't talk to them for 30 days and see how it goes. It's not always that simplistic. And oftentimes people have really been put through some stuff before they even get to the point where they are willing to say, I don't even want to talk to them anymore. I don't want to see them anymore.
Sure.
I just don't want anything to do with them anymore. Like myself.
Sure.
So I found the solace in hearing the story over and over again, thinking, then I'm not alone. That I didn't make some crazy unheard of choice. That it is okay. And that's between you and God as well. You know, you have that relationship that you talk to him about it. And you know what? I've never once felt any conviction about that choice. And even when I was questioning it back at Christmas.
Sure.
And I thought, okay, God, is this what you want?
Well, you knew.
And then I think he showed me.
Sure. Well,
then there was the post. There's my sign.
There was no reason to feel bad about the decision because you understood where this decision was coming from. And
yes.
See,
it was myself and it was our children.
Well, and the pastor kind of made the point. It's like our interactions with people are supposed to do our utmost to bring them to a revelation of faith. All of our interactions should be governed with that. That's what our ultimate goal is, to show Jesus through us. And if that kind of interaction isn't possible, it's best to not have any interaction at all. Because if you have no interaction, you're not digging the hole deeper. You're letting it lie. And that can sometimes be the absolute best decision. There's no way this is never going to end well.
I thought of something my aunt had said to me. Well, maybe my sister just doesn't know how to talk to people. She said, I think she just struggles to know how to talk to people, how to relate. And that might be true. In fact, I will absolutely tell you that's likely true.
Sure. That could be part of it.
But at the same time, does that still mean that it's okay to be a horrible person?
No.
And it's perfectly fine because, well, she just doesn't know any better.
No. Well, and
is it my job to tell her different? Again.
Because you already did. And
so
she doesn't care.
Many times.
And she didn't care. And she still doesn't care. But, well, she might care, but, whatever. See,
I don't know.
And again, it's like, I'm biased. I know I'm biased in this regard. But you're an adult. Like, you can make your decisions. You can make changes. If things aren't working, do something different. I don't know who said it, but there's a saying that's like, yes, it's true. It's your parents' fault for making you who you were. It's your fault for staying like that. You can choose to change. And if there's no growth from the age of 14 to 40, that's on you. You've wasted 30 years. You've wasted 25 years of your life. If you're not a completely different person, or let me rephrase it, if you're not a much more refined person, you have wasted 25 years of your life.
I think I hear our...
Oh, yes. Oh. I saw a creeping shadow.
I hear our youngest.
Yes.
You gonna say goodbye? Go into the working world now?
Okay.
Why not make it super real? We'll just do it
super
right.
real. Yeah.
Yep, just do it right here in the middle of the episode. Why not? You'll have an amazing day at work.
I'll have a day at work.
Have a day. You know what?
You'll have a day at work.
A day.
She'll have a day.
You know, Munchkin, you have a day at work.
You go have a day at work.
I'll have a day at work.
Come back with everything that you left with.
No promises.
Love you.
That was part of my soul. Love you too.
Oh God, you'd swear she was working at a sweatshop or something.
I know,
some
right?
days.
I know.
Like, it's like the Dunkin' Donuts dude. He's like, time to make the donuts. I'm like, dude, be excited about your job or get a different one. You know, just saying.
No, not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. Not a sponsor. No.
So to your point, in growth and change is up to the person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that maybe this revelation that she's come to or whatever that wasn't real, and I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying,
well, and
in terms of the affect onto my life and whether or not I'm willing to buy the actual change, given the post I read, I am not.
Sure. Well, and you know, we've both made our studies of psychology and human development in our. You've done it professionally. I've done it differently.
You have an incredible natural bent that our youngest does as well. And as she's now trekking into a bachelor's in psychology and she wants to become a counselor,
yep,
she will be amazing.
I
still think you would.
I use it where I can to help people where I can, and I interact with a lot of people. I just don't get paid for it. But I kind of lost my train of thought. Therein lies part of my problem.
Psychology.
Yes.
The study of.
Yeah. No, it was the thought leading up to that
Sorry.
I had. Yeah, it happens. It happens. I get derailed easily sometimes. Again, haven't been sleeping great, so it's been happening.
You also worked last night and haven't slept. So
I did, yeah. And that's fine.
Hence, the sooner in the day we did this, the better.
Sure, sure. It can be more entertaining when I'm completely loopy. But, okay, yeah, okay. I remembered my thought. Okay. Human memory is a massively flawed storage system. It's memory is additive, which is why, eyewitness testimony is so unreliable. You have 15 people, they all see the same thing, they see the same event, and they all remember it differently.
Mm-hmm.
Guy had blue eyes, guy had brown eyes, it was a 6-foot white guy, it was a 4-foot Asian dude, and it was all the same guy. Happens all the time. And the more you think about something, the more details get added on because your brain fills in details that it didn't actually register or didn't see. And over time, you have this really big, drawn-out story. It's like, and you remember it and you believe it to be true. But could be 90% fiction. But you've told it to yourself and imagined it for yourself for so long that that is your reality. That happens a lot. I mean, it
does.
It happens a lot, and sometimes it can be suggested to you.
Sometimes that's a way of coping with trauma.
Sure,
like we're going to remember the awesome frilly thing, not the terrible horrible thing.
We're going to remember the free candy, not the van itself.
Yikes!
Yeah. Our youngest has the joke about getting a free candy van and driving around the country,
which is awful.
It's kind of funny, but yeah. But nobody's going to mess with it.
Stop.
It's a built-in security system. But, it's like you're referencing your sister's post. Like, with her history of histrionic behavior, just that melodramatic BS that drove us nuts. In the same way that nobody is the villain in their life story. You know, Mussolini, he was the good guy.
Mm-hmm.
To Pol Pot, he was the good guy. To Karl Marx, he was the good guy. You know, it's like, yeah, millions of people died, but that was because I'm making the world better. You know, in that same kind of vein, I believe wholeheartedly that's what she remembers. Didn't happen.
Oh yeah, that's true. She did have some stuff in there that never even happened. I
Like,
forgot about that. I didn't mention that part.
We
Yes,
were there.
She had some
Okay.
things that were absolutely untrue.
We were there. That didn't happen.
It did not happen.
That's
true. She mentioned the Christmas tree.
Yeah, a version of that may have happened. That, like, okay, she made a comment about your mom being too sad and depressed and upset to have Christmas.
Like 20 years ago.
Like 20 years ago.
Over 20 years ago. 25 years ago.
Yeah, but that never happened.
And it was in regard to a specific event that had occurred.
Yes.
With that part was true. She
Yes.
didn't go into detail. There was something that occurred in November that did make her upset, but it did not stop her from decorating for Christmas.
No. Now, again, a portion of that may have been the seed that started it's like she always did these decorations, but she just didn't.
She just couldn't do the tree.
She just couldn't deal with that right now, or she just couldn't deal with the emotions attached to that, or whatever. And that
we decorated it.
Yeah. And based on her history of taking a speck of dirt and turning it into Mount Everest.
I do 100% believe she has histrionic personality disorder.
Oh gosh, yeah.
We have talked about that. Years ago. It has a name now, but like that she fits so many different aspects of like borderline personality. But then I studied histrionic a little bit more. That sounds a lot better.
She had no small. Everything was just the worst possible thing ever.
But that story. It was a story. It's not true. My mother was dying. Dying,
yes.
puking her guts out. Did not know she was dying, right? Because this happened. This was Christmas time, and she passed away April 5th. She was dying at that point.
Yes.
She didn't know it.
Nope.
Puking her guts out.
Yep.
She still decorated.
Yes,
she still cooked.
She still went way overboard.
She still went way
cooking.
overboard
Yes.
because that's what she did. No matter how she felt.
Yes. Now,
so the 25 years ago event that my sister was referencing made my mother upset, but it did not stop any holiday from happening.
No.
In any way, shape, or form.
It definitely changed it.
She was upset.
But
I do recall this.
But again,
we all were.
In her head, with the way everything minuscule gets turned to past 11 into 50.
Oh yes.
In her head, that's how she remembers it. Because there was a minor little thing it's like, okay, she was too sad to put the Christmas village out. And I don't know that that's it, but it's like she was too sad to put the Christmas village out. So, in her head, she was too sad to decorate. And then with her brain screaming off into the directions that it always went to, she became the hero in her story.
Yes.
Even though she's actually the one that caused all of the drama that she complained about was her and her alone. And everybody else's drama was them getting tired of her drama. So yeah, there was drama. There was there was, because we were sick of dealing with a spoiled, rotten 12-year-old who happened to be 30.
Or older.
Yeah.
Yes, you're putting it so eloquently in your psychological terms, but it's true. It is true.
And it's like one of those. It's like I still like, dude, get some help. It's like we can only.
Yeah, I don't know what you're getting help for.
And again, like there's no interaction that we can have with her that is going to be beneficial to her.
Hence, my kindness is my silence.
Or to us. Any interaction with her is not going to benefit us. It's not going to benefit her. So the best thing that we could do is separate ourselves from that situation. It's like We can't lift you up. You won't let us.
When the day after our father
and you are going to drag us down.
Her and my brother both basically had the same desire, which was to receive whatever money or items they could or was due them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there wasn't any money.
Nope.
And there was no stuff because he'd gone into a nursing home. And the stuff had been just like, he'd sold some stuff,
Yep.
like to a nephew.
Mm-hmm.
I sold it more specifically
Yep.
because I was the executor.
That
Because he told me to.
Yeah. Well, he sold some to a coworker.
And he sold stuff to your coworker.
Yep.
You got rid of some stuff.
Yep.
And I'm talking like yard sale level selling. I'm not talking like some, antique situation.
No, there
here.
was nothing that.
This was just some rando stuff that he absolutely shouldn't even have moved down with him, but he did.
I ended up officially getting his handguns and rifles. That was kind of
sure,
cool.
Sure. And now there are children's.
Yes.
And we're going to be redoing our will to state that.
Yep.
Not that it's
now
not already
both,
a given.
Now that they're both legal adults, yeah, we can do that.
But this is when I talk to my clients, they don't get the history and the things.
No.
I allow them to process. I validate, but I also help reframe.
Mm-hmm.
And I have yet to hear somebody that's completely off the wall with their reasoning for why they are questioning. Is it good for me to have this person in my life?
When you get to that point,
how
there are
miserable
reasons.
do you think you need to be to have this person in your life?
Well, and even your sister, in her things, it's like she's got to be completely aware of the fact that there's no healthy interaction between you two.
There never was.
I
don't know what she's imagining.
I don't. Well, and again,
I don't know what she's concocted in her mind. I have no idea.
And again, memory is a construct.
And if it wasn't
That's what
for
she's
the
constructed.
Aunts with their stories, even for when we were children,
Yep.
I would probably think I was crazy.
I was there.
And younger than when you in my life.
Yeah.
But even to say that our children remember her son, their cousin,
Mm-hmm.
being allowed to basically beat on them, and my mother wouldn't step in, and their aunt wasn't stepping in. Because, as my mother put it toward the end of her life, it's just not worth making her upset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really? This is where we are now?
And, that didn't work for me.
For a host of things that were unethical, immoral, illegal, a whole host of things.
I've brought this up in conversation before, but that little dude who is ridiculously tall now, I might add.
I say he is much older now.
Yeah, much
Time
older.
has passed.
And I really
He's a teenager.
Yes. And, but he was a completely undisciplined, unregulated little dude. And when he told your mom to shut the F up.
You did!
What was he, 4?
He would punch her in the chest, and he would tell her to shut the F up.
And
he was 3, 4.
Yeah.
And this was,
he
could talk pretty well.
Yeah. And there was one of those times where he was starting to get, he tried pulling that crap with me, and I knocked him on his little padded butt. I mean, I didn't hit him. Little kids have lousy senses of balance, and I went thunk, and he went on his butt, and I looked at him and like, she might let you talk to her like that. You don't get to talk to me like that. It was the first person to put any discipline in his life. And after that, he did not talk to me like that. He still talked to everybody else like that. It's like, I'm sorry, not my kid. And your mom's an adult. Your dad was an adult. It's like, why are you putting up with? It's like, I'm sorry.
I did try to allow the mother of the child and the grandmother involved in certain altercations to handle it when I was present, to basically defend my children, to do what's right. You should actually do something about the child that's instigating, not necessarily the child that's reacting or just being beaten on, because our daughters didn't always react.
Let's be honest.
And even my mother's,
they're always both really tough.
And for my mother's honesty, that he would be the one to start it. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes our kids wouldn't even know what to do. They'd just be like, what just happened? As he's busting their toys, screaming his head off, doing his thing. And we wouldn't always be present. Now, the times I was present, I did try to give an opportunity for somebody to handle it. You know, take care of your son.
Yep.
Never happened.
Nope.
Interestingly enough,
which is like, I would not normally knock a little kid on their butt, but it's like, no. This kid.
But walking up to him and like, I mean, I don't remember. Yeah. What'd you do?
What?
I think you walked up to him and he just like fell over onto his butt one time. It's actually what I remember. I've never actually saw you lay a hand on.
Oh no! I put the time that I'm talking about. He's just, and I put my finger. It was like 2 fingers in his chest and went thump, and he just
went over on his butt.
Went flat down.
Toddlers do.
Yeah, fell flat on his butt, just staring up at me, and was like, "You don't get to talk to me like that."
Oh yeah, he swear at us all the time.
Yeah, he was like, "You don't
all the time.
You do not." And after that, he was like,
He lived. They lived with my parents, so when we were there was interaction. I mean, so you weren't getting around it.
No,
and I would not. Whatever she thought was obnoxious, she didn't understand how much we were really holding back. Clearly,
yeah. Obviously.
For whatever she thought, whatever in her mind she concocted to be able to function.
There were a few times I was really close to kicking her husband's butt simply because he hadn't done anything yet. So it was like, no.
Again,
you
drug addict situation.
You need a
it
butt
was
whooping, man.
Not pleasant. A lot of things there I'm not going to go into.
No.
We're not going to go.
No. And so it's like, things could have been way worse.
They could have been way different. So whatever
worse.
She's concocted in her mind to, again, as you so well put, to make herself the hero, you are rearranging a whole lot of things and taking them out of reality.
Yeah, that we are so far beyond. I mean, and when I learned about the human memory being an additive construction, I actually read about how to not do that. I studied how to not do that. And it's impossible to do it 100%. It's like the more you think about something, the more details that get added to it. But one of the things it's like there's certain don't think about details of a situation because your brain will fill in details. Keep the generalities. These are the broad strokes because those won't change. All of the minute details could change. It's like you were wearing your NMC sweatshirt. It's like, I don't know, but now I'll remember that you were wearing your NMC sweatshirt.
Sure.
So it's like
they're the power of persuasion.
Yeah, it's the broad strokes. Your brain will fill in details if you acknowledge that there's a hole and you try to put something in it, it's going to fill it and that's going to become permanent. So, keep to the broad strokes. So it's like I can't give you specific statements and specific details about some of this stuff, just the broad strokes of the situation that happened. It's like, no, you don't get to be you're not the hero in this one. You are the cause of 90% of the problems. When she wasn't there for the holiday stuff, that she was not there, it was wonderful and pleasant and full of laughing and good times and good food. And when she was there, it was a freaking nightmare every time.
And there's a whole other side to that my parents have been gone a long time.
Yes.
And my father came semi-close in his last few months to actually admitting that he knew they could have done things very differently in raising her.
Yes.
In dealing with her in her adult life, living in their home.
Yep.
He took some, again, it wasn't in specific phrasing, but just the acknowledgement. I got as close to acknowledgement as I was ever going to get. I recognized it. The Spirit led me to understand that's what it was. I was grateful for it. We didn't have a great relationship anyway, but he knew I was the one to go to and I'd take care of him. Yes. And if it says anything at all, and I don't know if I shared this already, but if it says anything at all that I lived 3.5 hours away, my sister was 30 minutes and still supposedly, half living with him. And he's calling me up to come up and take him to the ER.
Yep.
Like, what? It was ridiculous, and that's not ended up what happening. He ended up calling an ambulance, and I dealt with it from home.
Yes.
And he was fine. It was just something that he didn't know. And I was 3.5 hours away. If that puts any of that into perspective of the kind of person she was and how reliable, and the thing was the drama. They never wanted to deal with the drama. And if anything that they knew was going to cause it, they'd shut it down.
Well,
But that didn't really
There
help.
didn't have to be any reason. It would just show up.
It was just there, and
the
they knew
first minor inconvenience turned into the world is ending. Every time.
it. Now, am I sad?
Where's my favorite butter knife? It was right here yesterday. And now there's a screaming hissy fit going on in the living room. I'm like, what?
Do I understand now, with a lot of training and time, that a lot of that, I mean, it was dysfunction. We came from trauma and dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
We all dealt with it very differently.
Yup.
Um,
Welcome to the club.
I
I
don't
knew
think-
there was a reason I liked you.
oh, my baby, I love you so much. However, even without explaining her things,
Mhm.
like her things were her things and my things are my things, and I'm still dealing with my things.
Yep.
But it was a kindness, and it still is. Now, do I feel bad? Do I genuinely feel bad that my father chose to not be honest? Literally in his last days, when he should have been more real with her about how close he was to death.
Yeah.
Am I sorry for that? Yes, I am sorry for that. I'm sorry that she was robbed of her opportunity for a genuine goodbye.
Yeah, but at the same time, the amount of drama that would have occurred was exactly what he was avoiding.
And that's exactly what he said to me.
So
I mean, he was in and out of lucidity in that last week, and she literally would have had the last couple days that he could have had that conversation. And I asked him if she knew, and, you know, do you want me to call her again as he got worse and worse? No. He knew.
You know,
Just like he didn't want me to call when he started going in and out of consciousness, and he knew it.
Mm-hmm.
He said no.
Nope.
And I said, okay.
Well, there's that, and it's like, yeah.
I mean, there wasn't
Again,
much to be done in the last
exactly.
few days.
He's a dude. He was a dude, and he thought in dude ways. It's like, there's nothing that she's gonna do. It's only gonna make her feel bad. So why bother?
I mean, you know, so she
Yeah.
got to miss the, you know, dad with his pee fountain and ripping off his diaper and talking about all kinds of stuff and
Yeah.
in and out of his lucidity, and he wasn't lucid actually.
No.
What he was doing was reliving memories, and I understood that
Mhm.
later on in
Yep.
conversation. He was literally reliving memories.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, she got to, you know, miss those things. She didn't get to see those things.
No.
But
Well, let's be honest. In and of itself, that was a kindness.
of course it was.
Yeah.
And it brought me to a level of education and realization that I could have never had I not experienced it.
Sure.
I share all this because it's putting it out there in a different way. That's why I say I can't do it as a counselor sitting in the chair across from somebody.
Yeah.
But in this format, it's out there, right? And I am writing a book.
Sure.
And it's not an easy choice that you ever get to where you just say, I can't have this person in my life anymore.
No.
That is a family member. Let's be clear
Sure.
about that.
Yeah.
We're talking family, right? Like, with that whole premise of like, oh, you gotta have them in your life because they're family.
Yeah.
I
and-
don't
No,
entirely
you
agree
don't.
with that
Yeah, you don't.
from a mental, emotional, or spiritual standpoint.
I think to a degree, you should give family more latitude.
Sure.
Simply because there is that familial thing. It's like when the world falls apart, your family's still out there. You know, it's like, and you still have that bond, even if it's like, well, like after we recorded last week, and I said, it's like, you know, I haven't spoken to my one sister in decades. Haven't texted, haven't talked, haven't even been in the same room with her since, I don't know, my parents'
See,
25th anniversary.
I don't remember.
I,
She hasn't been to family funerals either. So
No. But, you know, if somebody called me up and was like, hey, she's in a spot and she really needs some help, and it's like, you know, yeah, you know what? I would probably hop in the car, go up and see if I could help. She's not getting a penny. I'm not giving her money because but yeah, you know, it's like, you know, it's like we don't get along. We don't need to be friends. We don't need to get along. We don't gotta, you know, any of that crap. You need help? Okay, here I am. What can I do? All right, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going home.
You're a better person than me.
I'm a different person than you. And would I do that for your sister? I don't know.
See,
That would depend entirely on what the hell is
I
going
don't
on.
know how many times you can be lied to, stolen from,
Yep.
manipulated.
Sure.
You know, you hear about these. I hear about these things now.
Well, there's
in a clinical setting.
Yeah.
Like exactly that right there. How many times can I let my brother break into my home and steal my things?
Yep. Nope.
How many times can I
None.
let him stash drugs in my house?
0.
I mean, these are the things that I'm hearing from clients, and you're like,
That's,
you know what? I
that's-
get where you're coming from.
Yeah, but that's
How many times
Yeah,
can
yeah.
you let that happen?
the answer is you let that happen 0 times. Now, kind of had a conversation with somebody similar to that actually. But if you knock on my front door and say I need help, it's a big difference than you coming through the bedroom window without me knowing. You knock on my door, I still might say no, but you knock on my door, we're on cordial, friendly, even if we don't like each other, we're on a relatively cordial terms at that point. You come in through the window, you are nothing to me but a thief. And it's so you let that happen exactly 0 times. There's no respect there whatsoever. They're using you, they're taking advantage of you, they're a crook, they're a criminal, you get them, they need to, some people can't learn to stand up until they're flat on the floor.
Sure.
And there's a part of me, it's like, I really don't like it when people hit rock bottom. But at the same time, I don't have a lot of sympathy for who created the situation that's destroying them. Like, it's like you got to learn. It's like I can get you out of this situation, but if you haven't learned your lesson to not get back here in the first place, then I'm not helping you by helping you out. You need to fall flat on your face. You need to stub your toe. You need to burn your hand sometimes. You got to learn the lesson and take away from it the lesson you need to learn so you don't end up right back here again.
Well, sometimes people lose their leg and they still don't get it.
Yeah. Sometimes by the time you lose the leg, it's way too learned, way too
Maybe literally
far gone.
And these sessions are with believers, by the way, which is kind of what makes that it's a harder conversation to have. And you always start that with that. Have you prayerfully considered it? And where are you in this relationship with God, and then in that decision? And just I try to have that better understanding with it, because and it said it right there. I think that's part of what bends my head a little bit. When it was just you or I, it was different.
Sure.
It was different to put up with that kind of crap.
Sure.
Then I had kids.
Yep.
Yes, that very much changed my mindset.
Yes.
Then we had a daughter that started having some pretty significant emotional distress about things, and it was coming out in different ways.
Yes, it was.
You know what? That made me have some feelings.
Well, and therein, it's like, honestly, we probably should have nipped it in the bud before that.
Of course we should.
But
there was always that
there's
mom, my mother.
There's a
But
no, but people have forgotten that when you get married, your used to be immediate family are now extended family, and the person you married is your immediate family. They are the top priority. Not saying we got this right.
I'm not saying I have it 100% right.
But
I made a lot of mistakes when it came to this situation.
But your priority has to shift. Your parents are always your parents, but they are no longer your immediate family.
And I get to tell people that now.
Yeah.
I get to encourage those types of things now. All the mistakes I made, I get to do it different, right? And I'm not trying to live vicariously through. I'm not trying to counter transfer. That's not what I'm talking about.
No, what you're trying to do is pass along the wisdom that you had to pay the price for.
Without being able to tell them the details.
Yes. Well, and, something that I kind of felt a little weird about last week was, all we were talking about was leaving people behind, cutting them out and all that. It's like, sometimes it's like, yes, you the best thing you can possibly do for everybody concerned is just break ties. That definitely is the case.
But that's not an easy decision.
honestly, if it's too hard of a decision, I'm okay. Let me back up. I'm in a lot of
It's
cases.
my verbiage you don't like.
Well, no, it's the concept behind it. I want to make sure I'm getting my thought across effectively. In a lot of cases, other people make the decision for you. You don't even need to make one. Oh, that's how it is. Bye. That's not a hard decision.
Because you have to be
Now,
able
the
to
consequences can be difficult to live with, but the decision itself, if you're at that point, the decision should be pretty easy. It should be a foregone conclusion. Oh no, I'm out of here.
But it's being able to stand solid on your values
Yes.
and the concept of who you are cleaving, right? Because again, we're talking about the family situations.
Yes.
And you do cut out the ugly things, and it's the headspace we're in
Mm-hmm.
that frames how we talk about it. And I'm in a different headspace than I was a week ago.
Sure.
But yes, to your point, if you're already there and that's already the focus and already
Mm-hmm.
the intentionality, then it's not a hard decision.
No.
But it doesn't mean it's not painful.
No.
And maybe that's
Well,
where
and-
I'm using the wrong word.
Sure.
It's not-
Maybe not. It's just.
It's not a decision that doesn't come without
No.
feelings
Well, and
attached.
I use this statement fairly often. Simple things are never easy. It's a simple concept. A simple concept is almost always very hard to execute well. And the thing that you shouldn't execute at all goes really simple and really smooth. It's like the wrong decision is really always an easy one to make. But the simple solution is always the hardest to execute. And so like it becomes a very simple like oh, no. This is toxic. And it's outside of my control toxic. I need to not be here. Bye. And you can do it with no malice, with no anger, with no anything. It's like, you know what? This is bad for me. You are bad for me. This situation is bad for me. And I got to do what's right for me, and I'm out.
Yeah, we shared a bathtub growing up. Doesn't mean it's okay for you to hide drugs in my house.
Nope.
Especially without me knowing.
Nope.
That kind of thing.
Yep, nope.
Or steal money from me.
Yeah, nope. There's a handful of things that
steal
are
belongings so you can sell for your drugs. I mean,
that-
I've heard some things in the last couple of weeks, and
there
what?
are things. It's like, you know what? Those are automatic deal breakers. The door, you slammed the door on that relationship as soon as you do any of that. You did, not me. I'm not cutting you out. You cut yourself out.
It doesn't mean that there isn't the room for grace and space
Oh, no.
and prayer.
And there needs
and
to
then
be.
if you get your crap together later on,
Yep.
then maybe there could be the thing. But I guess my point in even bringing up that post was, I think that was the sign, because it hadn't
No.
changed.
No,
That's just it. People
she might
can
be-
change. I'm not saying people can't
no,
change.
No, people do, and
you leave the room for that.
you hope, you hope, and
You leave 'em to
you
God,
hope and you
and-
pray,
and
and you.
When you
it's
can't
like-
do more, you can't do more.
And if there's something I can do to help, I tell people a lot of times when they're going through stuff, it's like, you know what, right now, I know for a fact, there is not a dang thing I can do to help in this situation. Zero. Nothing I can do to help this situation. But if there's anything that pops up where I can help, you let me know. I want to help. I'm here ready with a toolbox, a lunchbox, and an ear.
But that's not always how that goes.
No, it isn't. And I've never had anybody take me up on it. But I am 100% serious. It's like, it's like, I can't help you. When you're at a point where I can help you, you tell me, and I'm going to help. Nobody's ever taken me up on it. And someday I hope they do. I hope somebody gets to the point where, it's like, right now I need an ear. I need a set of hands. I need some advice. I need something. I'm here. You let me know. I'll show up. But like I was saying though, it's like if you're not at that point, if it's like you don't cut people out for let's just say superficial reasons. Like right now, there's a lot of political division in our country.
Yikes.
And people are just like, well, this person voted for this person, and this person voted for that person, and this person believes this, and this person believes that. Cut them out of your life. Like, hold on, that right there is like, do you not agree on 90% of everything else? It's like, you're taking something. Don't take something relatively small in the big picture and use that as an excuse. I mean, it's really easy to not talk politics at a family dinner. It's really simple. You don't talk politics at the family dinner. Okay.
Though we have some family that manages to weave it in pretty
Oh, sure.
well.
And
Yeah.
I usually look at them and go, you really want to go there? No. Okay, then. Pass the potatoes. It's like I'm not people that hang out with me after a while, they know I will talk about anything with anyone.
Oh my gosh. Sure.
I don't have a problem. I will talk about anything with anyone, but I have a few simple
But when
rules.
you want to judge me, and
Yeah.
I don't care your relationship to me. When you want to judge me, belittle me, bulldoze me, because I don't believe the same thing as
Yeah,
you.
and no,
I'm past that phase
Oh
in
yes,
life.
definitely. And I don't put myself in positions where it's like but it's like, okay, you if you legitimately want to have this conversation, simple ground rules. I'm not trying to convince you. You don't try and convince me. I'm not going to treat you like crap because of what you think. Don't treat me like I'm crap because of what I think. And if at the end of the day, the only thing that happens is you better understand my position, I'm going to call that a win. This is a conversation. The minute it starts getting not a conversation, it needs to be over.
It's done.
Okay? And it's like, those are the ground rules.
We call them fair fighting rules, but yeah, you can also just have ground rules.
This is just the ground rules. It's like, you want to talk about anything. You want to talk about sex, drugs, politics, religion, anything. I don't give a crap. You want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. I'm a very opinionated guy. But at the same time, I might be a very opinionated guy, I don't hold anybody to any standard other than, their own. It's like, my standard is for me, not for you. There are certain things that I am adamantly against, but you don't answer to me.
That's it.
So I can give you my opinion. If you ask my opinion, I'll give it. I'm not going to volunteer my opinion when I know we're adamantly opposed. It's like, I'm not going to offer that opinion unless you ask. And if you ask, you open that door and you waive the right to be pissy about it. But...
And I know
all
that's
that
a
being
very
said-
hot topic, right?
Oh, sure.
Especially right now.
Oh, sure.
That's
It's
a
like
big
right now,
one.
everything's kind of
It's gonna
nuts.
be, that also has come up in my sessions. I do have a couple clients that have brought that up, that they've struggled with friends and family pretty hard in the last couple weeks since the inauguration, since even really just before it, because of all the assumptions of how it was going to go, what it was going to look like, and the drama, and it's actually caused some conflict. And I do my best to keep it very not political, right?
Yeah. And
So to say it's
there's a bunch
okay
of
that you have your ideals. You are not a different person. You're the same person you've been. They have their own fears and their own frustrations, and they're taking it out on you. If you can have that conversation to let them know, maybe we just need to avoid particular topics for a while.
Yeah, and
if it's
there's also
maybe you just don't talk to them for a little
sure.
while.
It's like, give everybody a chance to breathe. But you can always ask the question: is like, who made this a line in the sand for us? And it's like,
And we could talk for another hour about that. But
I'm not making it a line in the sand. Why? It's like, what is going on? That it's like it's like the way the media has been portraying. It's like, depending on who you're watching, it's like, okay, well, these people are just evil. Like, okay,
I don't want to dive deep there either.
No, it's like,
but the one in
they
particular that
disagree.
stands out to me when she was saying, like, a friend of hers was like, "Are you happy now because this is happening? Are you happy now because that's happening?" Well, it wasn't about like, I'm happy because certain things are going to happen. Like, that's not. It wasn't that, like, in her words. It was more just the ideals that she stood for, and that she wasn't different. She's the same person she's always been. It was just that we have the president we have now that has made the decisions that he was going to make, and that person in her life just thought she was crap for
Yeah, and
suddenly thought she was crap because she agreed with those things. But
well, and
I can appreciate too. Then that's a whole other thing
Yeah.
we could talk for an
Well,
hour about. But
yeah, well, when it comes down to like the political thing, it's like, I have never. Okay, my close friends, I might give crap about any opinion that they have, and that's fine because that's what we do. I give I give my friends crap. That's how you know I like you. Anyway, it's a guy thing, but when it comes to that kind of stuff, it's like, okay, you have your core beliefs, you have your. This is the stand on the hill. This is the hill I'm going to die on.
yeah,
And then you have these are the molehills that I will fight on. And then there's everything else. Who best line? It's like, you know what? I might disagree with this candidate on their Second Amendment position, and I might disagree with this person on their taxation position, and this guy on his whatever. But the biggest items, the biggest things, the things that I consider the utmost ideal, we're in sync on. So I'm voting for that person. I might disagree with the minutia of what their platform is. But when you're given two candidates, like this person is the polar opposite of what I consider to be the utmost ideal. And this person aligns with what I consider to be my utmost ideal. Even if I agree with all of the minutia with that other character, I'm not voting for them because it's the minutia that I align with, not the core belief. I'm going to vote based on my core belief. This is my die on a hill point. And with this person that I don't even have to like, that's the person I'm voting for because my die on a hill point is the one that I agree with. Now, I don't know what your die on a hill point is or what somebody else's is. It's like, it doesn't mean that, like, that's my die on a hill point. And it's always been my ultimate point. And I've never hidden the fact that that's my ultimate point. So, and we were friends all this time up until the vote happened. What's going on? It's like, I didn't change. You didn't change. Your die on a hill point was one of the other candidates. I've always known that. We just disagree.
And fears and
it's like the media has made it. It's like where we have to be against each other in all ways and everything. And it's bleeding into people's homes, and that needs to stop.
I don't disagree. I don't want to go for too far down this trail.
It's a long rabbit hole, and we're already over an hour.
But
so
I appreciate that you provided that. For what that's worth when it comes to those types of topics. I want to bring it back in, that summation, right, of in general, I didn't necessarily make it like to your point to make it sound like it was, cut out all the cancers. That's not
no
what I was going for.
There's certain
I'm
things
expressing that
yeah.
Yes, there's the lines you have to draw, the thresholds you have to know. Part of that's knowing yourself and accepting that. That's not always pretty.
No.
Neither was Jesus' death on the cross.
No.
There
were people he didn't visit too.
Yeah, there's that. So if you can allow yourself the grace and the space and the forgiveness, that self-forgiveness for it, it's not always, as I said, like a painless process.
There's going to be a price to be paid, regardless. If you stay in a situation that is difficult.
But you have to know the level of toxicity and pain.
Well, and there's
that you should not be putting yourself through.
No. Well, and there's situations where they're not necessarily the most fun or the most comfortable, but you're not. It's not. I mean, people call everything toxic anymore, but it's not a toxic situation. It's maybe not the most healthy situation. And then there's toxic situations. And it's like, is it toxic or are you just not happy?
Does that mean that you should still tell somebody why you're not going to speak with them?
Well, I think
yes, you should still communicate.
If you don't feel that you can tell them that you're uncomfortable, if you can't tell them that without it becoming a big deal, that's a toxic situation. That's a toxic situation, not an unhealthy situation.
That's a sign. But yes, you should still communicate intention
Oh, yes.
and reasons and feelings.
Yes.
And
Oh, yeah.
it's
No,
going to become what
not-
it's going to become. And if that means that
Yeah.
that's still your
Yeah.
I'm stepping away point, okay.
Don't ghost. Be healthy. You know,
So
it's-
let me just be clear. This was not a ghosting with my sister, or even my brother for that matter. This was y'all knew. The situations in life didn't change it. The death of our parents didn't change it.
Nope.
It actually made it easier for me.
Mm-hmm.
There's two. Then I didn't feel like I was disappointing my mom because that was my own crap that I was carrying around. Right? It shouldn't have been about my mom. Shouldn't at all.
No.
You know.
No, well, I mean,
that was
not
that was
saying-
my
Yeah.
that was my journey.
Not saying she shouldn't have been a consideration, but she shouldn't
However-
have been the definition of, she shouldn't have been that.
Jesus got to tell
And
her when
LBL.
she went home. So now she
Yep.
knows. She knows it all. He had a nice long talk with her.
What the heck, man?
and my father for that matter.
Yeah.
So I'm saying all of that to say I've been through my things. I have my perspectives for a reason. They don't just come from nowhere.
No.
And you have yours. They don't just come from nowhere. And though I cannot share in this capacity with a client, I'm looking forward to the forums where
Sure.
I can be more open and real.
Well, yeah.
And this is one of them right now. My books will be another, and then whatever speaking engagements come and all the things down
Sure.
the road, because that's how that looks. But right now we do this for fun and we do it for an outlet, and at the same time we're processing life for everybody to hear.
And we really hope that our listener doesn't hold it against us.
Our listener. I know, right? However consistent she still is.
Yep.
No. Anyway. Okay. So
We appreciate you.
we're going to sum that up. Okay.
Good times.
We need to be done. So many
Yeah.
rabbit holes. Okay.
So many.
So many.
rabbit
But
holes.
we'll get on to something else next week.
Sure. Sounds
Okay.
like a plan. Okay.
Okay.
Well then. I'm Fix It.
I'm Feel It.
We hope you join us in the future.
Until next week.
Y'all have a great one.